Legalism is a very, very dangerous word because it's been so uh, imprinted into society because the lawyers are everywhere and who they work for, they're devil's advocates. So whether or not they know or not is not really my concern. Hopefully, they watch the videos and they find out that it should be their concern that they've been called to the bar to actually cross the line between good and evil, and they actually walk into evil and fiction, and therefore they speak the lie, and they promote that, and it's their profession to speak lies, not truth. Though we know that they mix truth with error, and so legalism, in a sense, is an advocate of artificial, fictitious debt, because there is no debt in nature. Nature has no debt. There is no debtor or creditor-debtor system in nature, but in man's system, we value and devalue something, and then create some kind of mathematical equation in order to operate how we're going to run the commerce. And when we look at the Oxford 20-volume set on legalism, it actually has a couple quotes. One, it says, it's just giving references for its use. It says, theology reproachfully to the principles of those who are accused of adhering to the law as opposed to the gospel. The doctrine of justification by works or teaching which savors of that doctrine. Then it even says, gives a couple of quotes out of different renderings, how people may have used it. So out of the 1856, R.S. Vaughan Mystics, 1860, made a quote. He says, the frigid legalism of the Creed of Islam. And then under legalist, it says an inherent or advocate of legalism, one who believes in or inclines to the doctrine of justification by works. Now we know that's opposite to what is in Scripture. The first half of the Bible is based on man's journey down the ordinances of men and the inability, even under the Mosaic Code, to fulfill these. And therefore, of course, they had priests involved. And these priests basically were in between them and reaching God. Now, we know a legal system would run the same direction, because a legal system that would mirror that would ensure the fact that you would not be able to reach salvation without going through some system that would involve a legal priest. We call them lawyers now. They've actually mirrored the understanding of the Levites, who no longer had a purpose after Christ came, because he didn't come according to the Levitical priesthood. He came according to a kingly tribe, and therefore he fulfilled the law because he came under the supremacy of God. He didn't come under an appointed situation where these legal priests under Aaron would perish and die, and other ones would just come up under that, but it was not based on something that was perpetual, that came from God. It was something that was coming from the source of life, and therefore these shall we say, false Levites that were basically around at the time of the Babylonian siege on Jerusalem decided that they would actually join the confusion of paganism, and therefore they found their way in with mixing the truth of God with the knowledge they had with the legalism system that was operating at the time of the Babylonians. And so they mixed in, we'll call it black magic, witchcraft, sorcery, in with what was truth, and they cast this out now under magistrates. So these are devils of darkness, but they're still not allowed to overpower the people of God. And you cannot claim remedy when you're in the very mire that empowers it. So we're hopeful that this video will understand that legalism has nothing to do with God or God's law, and we want to be not an advocate of artificial, fictitious debt, but that Christ canceled the debt through his blood, and we're now under his sovereignty, and we're now free from debt.